Week 4 Day 1. Alacrity. Briskness, lively action. Sense. The waiter moved with alacrity, because he perceived they were big tippers. Sense alacrity. Noun. Speed and eagerness, she accepted the money with alacrity. Disdain. Contempt, scorn. Sense. When the curtain came down, the critic's face registered the disdain she felt for the lackluster play. Sense disdain. Noun. When you dislike someone or something, and think that they do not deserve your interest or respect, he regards the political process with disdain. Disdain. Verb. 1. To feel disdain for someone or something. The older musicians disdained the new, rock-influenced music. 2. Disdain. To do sth. To refuse to do something, because you feel too important to do it. Disdainful. Adjective. Formal. A disdainful expression. Disdainfully. Adverb. Belligerent. Warlike. Sense. His belligerent manner caused him to lose one friend after another. Sense. Belligerent. Adjective. 1. Disapproving. Wishing to fight or argue, a belligerent person. A belligerent gesture. Watch out. Leads in a belligerent mood. 2. Specialized. Fighting a war, the belligerent countries are having difficulties funding the war. Belligerence. Noun. Also belligerency. Disapproving. I can't stand his belligerence. His wish to argue with people all the time. Belligerently. Adverb. Disapproving. Intimidate. To overawe versus intimate. Close. Sense. Y2K. Concerns of datebug problems with computers failed to intimidate our company. Sense. Intimidate. Verb. To frighten or threaten someone, usually in order to persuade them to do something that you want them to do. They were intimidated into accepting a pay cut by the threat of losing their jobs. Intimidated. Adjective. Frightened or nervous, because you are not confident in a situation. Older people can feel very intimidated by computers. Intimidation. Noun. The campaign of violence and intimidation against them intensifies daily. Intimidating. Adjective. Making you feel frightened or nervous, an intimidating array of weapons. An intimidating manner. She can be very intimidating when she's angry. Feint. A false attack. Pretend. Sense. The Germans were duped by the Allies. Feint toward the south, leaving the way open for the Normandy invasion. Sense. Feint. Verb. Especially in football or boxing. To pretend to move, or to make a move, in a particular direction in order to deceive a competitor. Plus 2. Infinitive. Callas feinted to pass the ball and then shot it into the net. He feinted a shot to the left. Feint. Noun. He produced a brilliant feint, past 2 defenders, and smashed the ball into the net. Hobson's choice. To have no choice at all. Mr. Hobson owned a livery stable, but he did not allow the customers to pick their own horses. Since despite all the talk about democracy in my family, my father usually gives the rest of us Hobson's choice. Mullins. A KO victim. When the bell sounded, K.O. Mullins responded with alacrity. He sprang from his stool and charged across the ring, showing disdain for the champion's strength. Although this belligerent attitude impressed the referee, it failed to intimidate the champ. That intrepid battler laid the hapless Mullins low with an adroit feint and an uppercut. Week 4 Day 2. Pugnacious. Quarrelsome. Sense. Since everyone can outbush my cousin, he cannot afford to be pugnacious. Sense. Pugnacious. Adjective. Formal. Wanting to start an argument or fight, or expressing an argument or opinion very forcefully. I found him pugnacious and arrogant. Pugnacity. Noun. Also pugnaciousness. Formal. Promulgate. To make known officially. Since we implored the faculty advisor to promulgate the requirements for the presidency of the club. Since promulgate. Spread. Verb. Formal. To spread beliefs or ideas among a lot of people. Promulgation. Noun. Formal. Sense. Promulgate. Announce. Verb. Formal. To announce something publicly, especially a new law. The new law was finally promulgated in the autumn of last year. Promulgation. Noun. Formal. Brash. Impudent, insolent. Sense. My mother liked the salesman's brash personality, but he irritated most people. Sense. Brash. Adjective. Disapproving. A people showing too much confidence and too little respect, or of clothes too bright and colorful, a brash young banker. Don't you think that suits a bit brash for a funeral? Brashness. Noun. Scoff, to sneer at, to mock. Sense, I don't understand modern art, but I neither loathe nor scoff at it. Sense, scoff. Verb. To laugh and speak about a person or idea in a way which shows that you think they are stupid or ridiculous. The critics scoffed at his paintings. Years ago people would have scoffed at the idea that cars would be built by robots. Scoff. Noun. Usually plural. Despite the scoffs of her colleagues, the experiment was completely successful. Scoffer. Noun, usually plural. I was able to prove the scoffers wrong. Sense, scoff. Sense, verb. Us, also scarf, informal. To eat something quickly and eagerly. I baked a huge cake this morning, and the kids scoffed a lot. Belittle, to make seem less important, speak of as an important. Sense, although Ralph can't play, he doesn't hesitate to belittle the efforts of our ball team. Sense, belittle. Verb. To make an action or a person seem unimportant, though she had spent hours fixing the computer. He belittled her efforts. Stop belittling yourself. Your work is highly valued. To throw down the gauntlet, to challenge someone. When the gauntlet, or medieval glove, was thrown down, the challenger was required to pick it up. Since the principal of our rival school threw down the gauntlet, and we had no choice but to accept the challenge. Mullins throws down the gauntlet. The pugnacious K.O. Mullins demanded a rematch. He took a full-page newspaper advertisement to promulgate his challenge. When the champ's manager saw the brash announcement, he accosted Mullins, who was surrounded by a throng of newsmen. The manager openly scoffed at Mullins and belittled his fighting ability. Mullins then lost his temper and fearlessly punched the manager, knocking him from his wheelchair. Week 4, Day 3. Tangible, having actual forms. Since Mr. Dixon belittled our request for tangible proof of his loyalty. Sense, tangible. Adjective. Real or not imaginary, able to be shown, touched or experienced. We need tangible evidence if we're going to take legal action. Other tangible benefits include an increase in salary and shorter working hours. Tangibly. Sense, adverb. Laceration, jagged wound. Since the medic reached into his kit to find a bandage for the ugly laceration. Sense, lacerate. Verb. Formal. To cut or tear something, especially flesh. The man's face was severely lacerated in the accident. Laceration. Noun. Formal. A cut. The boy had received horrific injuries in the attack, including lacerations to both arms. The body showed signs of laceration and bruising. Castigate, to correct by punishing, chastise. Since the kindly foreman was too reticent to openly castigate the clumsy new worker. Since, castigate. Verb. Formal. To criticize someone or something severely. Health inspectors castigated the kitchen staff for poor standards of cleanliness. Sordid, dirty, base, filthy behavior. Since stories of their sordid youth poured forth from the unhappy felon. Since sordid, dirty. Adjective. Dirty and unpleasant. There are lots of really sordid apartments in the city's poorer areas. Sordidness. Noun. Sense, sordid. Immoral. Adjective. Immoral and shocking. He told me he'd had an affair, but he spared me the sordid details. Sordidly. Adverb. Sordidness. Noun. Octogenarian, person in his or her 80s. Sense, when the teenager announced her engagement to the octogenarian, the public suspected it to be a publicity stunt. Octogenarian. Noun. Feeling no pain, drunk. Sense, although the party had just begun, after his first drink he was feeling no pain. Mullins forced to eat humble pie. The irate 80-year-old manager pressed charges against K.O. Mullins, suing him for assault. As tangible evidence of the attack, he pointed to a deep laceration over his eyebrow that had required 10 stitches. When the case was brought before the court, the judge castigated Mullins for the sordid incident. In addition to a costly financial settlement, Mullins was required to make a public apology to the octogenarian. Week 4, Day 4. Solace, easing of grief. Since in trying to offer solace to the pilot's wife, the reporter inadvertently made the situation worse. Sense, solace. Noun. Literary. help and comfort when you are feeling sad or worried. When his wife left him, he found solace in the bottle, drank alcohol. Music was a great solace to me during this period. Solace. Verb. Literary. To give help and comfort to someone when they are feeling sad or worried. Aspirant candidate for high position. Since the publisher scoffed at the reports that he was an aspirant for the job of public post. Since aspirant. Noun. Formal. Someone who very much wants to achieve something, an aspirant to the throne. Drake's most worthless part. Since in a frenzy, the teenager overturned every drawer while searching for the car key. Since dregs. Plural noun. The solid bits that sink to the bottom of some liquids, such as wine or coffee, which are not usually drunk. In one swift go, she had drunk her coffee down to the dregs, finishing it. Since the dregs of society. Humanity. A group of people in society whom you consider to be immoral and worthless. People tend to regard drug addicts as the dregs of society. Frenzy. Wild fit. Since in a frenzy, the teenager overturned every drawer while searching for the car key. Since frenzy. Noun. An example of uncontrolled and excited behavior or emotion, which is sometimes violent. In a frenzy of rage she hit him. The media frenzy over the princess's death. The audience worked themselves up into a frenzy as they waited for her to come on stage. There was a frenzy of activity on the financial markets yesterday. In a moment of jealous frenzy, she cut the sleeves off all his shirts. Frenzied. Adjective. The office was a scene of frenzied activity this morning. As the evening wore on, the dancing got more and more frenzied. Scurrilous. Coarse, vulgar, using indecent language. Decent. Language. Sense. Vigilant censors protect the public from listening to scurrilous language on television. Sense. Scurrilous. Adjective. Formal. Expressing unfair or false criticism, which is likely to damage someone's reputation. A scurrilous remark. Attack article. Scurrilously. Adverb. To rule the roost, to be in charge, to be master. Roost is a perch where domestic birds can sleep. Sense. Although he is a lowly private in the army, at home he rules the roost. The decline of Mullins. Mullins sought solace in whiskey. Once a highly respected aspirant for the lightweight crown, he now found himself associating with the dregs of Skid Row poverty area. He would work himself into an alcoholic frenzy, in which he would trumpet scurrilous attacks on the chimp, the old manager, and the judge. One avid fight fan attributed Mullins' absence from the ring to sickness, saying that he was recovering from a bad case of Scottish whiskey. Week 4, Day 5. Want to run for office? In recent years, we have seen the phenomenon of incumbent politicians retiring in record numbers. When interviewed, many of them admitted that they had lost their taste for the job, because of the abuse to which an aspirant for office is subjected. My last campaign was a sordid affair, in which my opponents did everything to belittle my record and air scurrilous charges about my private life, said one congressman. I don't have to stand still for such treatment, he added, which was terribly embarrassing to me and my entire family. Citizen groups, appalled by the candidate's mudslinging, have sought to do something about the situation. Committees have been formed in a number of states to study ways to elevate the tone of the process, reduce the emotionalism, and eliminate the frenzy of name-calling that is generated as Election Day draws near. Unless we clean up this mess, said the chairman of an Illinois caucus, we will lose the best and the brightest from the political arena. After all, who but a masochist wants to be a punching bag, the subject of daily vilification in the media, and a target for every malcontent in town? No.